Recently, Wayanad Member of Parliament Rahul Gandhi tweeted a report stating that India is no longer a free country. Quoting a report issued by Sweden-based Varieties of Democracy V-Dem Institute, Rahul Gandhi had remarked that India's status had been lowered from the world's largest democracy to an electoral autocracy under the Narendra Modi government. But is it of any value? Namaste. My name is Richa Dwivedi, and this is The Bottom Line. The report is compiled based on insights of supposed country experts. What does this mean? As shown in the methodology on the site, a country's democratic status is judged based on the opinion of 25 people. What is even more surprising is that the 25 experts who give data on a country may not even be from that country. Very democratic indeed. What it means is that a value judgment can be passed about levels of freedom in a country without even residing in it for a substantial period of time. A look at the members of the International Advisory Board organization tells us much. The board has 2 Indians and both are known political partisans and not neutral observers. They are Ashoka University Professor Pratap Bhanu Mehta and JNU Professor NIJ Jayal, who openly identify themselves with a particular kind of politics that is invested in discrediting the Indian government. Perhaps this is why V-Dem has used the CAA, a humanitarian legislation giving rights to refugees, as proof of India turning autocratic. Since when did giving rights to the disaffected, helpless refugees become a symbol of autocracy? Ironically enough, Pratap Bhanu Mehta's name was removed from the site after people pointed out he was on the board. An archived copy survives still, revealing the change. One wonders why. A third board member is former Pakistani Interior Minister Edzaz Ehsan, who calls India an occupational force on the subject of Kashmir. Surely, such people's views on Indian democracy must be taken seriously, right? Another important insight is that data collection for more than 450 indicators across 180 countries was funded by Open Society Foundations, the organization funded by billionaire George Soros. We had earlier made a video on how Soros had openly declared his resolve to fight nationalism in India. It is very democratic for a foreigner to get involved in how India should run, right? Be that as it may, a closer look at the manner of scoring leaves much room for questioning. An analysis conducted by Swarajya magazine highlighted uncomfortable questions on the academic rigor of the methodology followed and the scores allocated to India over different periods of time, forget anything else. On the parameter of Electoral Democracy Index, the report allocates nearly the same score for election year 2019 as that of 1975. Rings a bell? The only thing that happened in 1975 was the suspension of Indian democracy, the emergency. An examination of V-Dem's Deliberative Democracy Index scores further clears the fog of doubt. V-Dem gave a score of 0.314 for the year 1975, better than the score of 0.267 for the year 2019. Don't laugh at this, but apparently there was greater deliberative democracy in India in 1975, when the entire opposition was behind bars, vis-a-vis 2019, when the opposition freely called the Prime Minister a chor, murderer and whatnot. If there is still room for doubt, their take on clean elections will make sure you cross the line.
Apparently, elections were cleaner in 1975 with a score of 0.648, many notches higher than in the year 2019, which scored 0.577.
Except there is a tiny problem. There were no elections that year, as the emergency meant that India was in the hands of a de facto dictator. How democratic. To seal the deal, an interesting takeaway from V-Dem's analysis was that India's chaotic democratic period of 1998 with multiple prime ministers and governments seems to score very highly. A country in the throes of uncertainty, chaos, and high levels of insecurity arising from it is really democracy for V-Dem. Is this a Freudian slip that reveals the desires of the report's research team on how Indian democracy should be? Is this what these academics truly want for India? A country in the throes of uncertainty, paralyzed by indecision, struggling to better its people's lives? This academic seeming exercise is nothing more than mental gymnastics trying to fit a certain narrative to attack Indian democracy. Only that in an attempt to force-fit the narrative, it goes hilariously wrong. Would you consider any report that says democracy was healthier during the emergency than in 2019 as a credible report? Well, we know the answer to that question. Thank you for being with New India Junction.